Jeep has built some incredible transmissions, and some complete disasters. One was recalled, one overheats constantly, and one is so good it shares its DNA with BMW and Bentley. Today, I'll show you exactly which Wrangler transmissions to avoid and the one you should actually buy. So let's take a quick trip through Jeep transmission history. Jeep has sold over 5 million Wranglers since 1986. In 2018 alone, they moved a record 240,032 units in America. The thing holds value like a Rolex. A new Wrangler drops only about 32% after 5 years, while the average midsize SUV loses 46%. That's almost unheard of. But here's what the dealer won't tell you. The Wrangler's dirty secret isn't the engine. The legendary 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 is a tank. Owners cross 186,000 miles on basically oil changes. No, the thing that decides whether your Jeep is a lifelong companion or a money pit sitting on jack stands is the box behind that engine, the transmission. And Jeep has bolted in some absolute gems and some absolute garbage boxes over the last 4 decades. So let's start at the beginning, the YJ. That's the square headlight Wrangler from 1987 to 1995. If you got a manual, you got one of 2 ISIN units, the AX5 or the AX15. And here's your first lesson. The AX15 5-speed is a flat-out legend. Novak conversions and mechanics across the internet call it one of the best manuals Chrysler ever put in anything. Built by the same Japanese company that supplies Toyota, it'll handle the 4.0-liter straight 6 all day, and guys still bolt small V8s to them. But its little brother, the AX5? Novak flat out says its strength is minimal, and failures behind even stock engines aren't rare. They won't even sell you an adapter to bolt a 6-cylinder in front of it. They literally call it a small car transmission in a truck body. So in year 1 of the Wrangler, the same Jeep could have a bulletproof gearbox or a grenade, depending on which engine the first owner ticked on the order sheet. Then we roll into the TJ from 1997 to 2006. The manuals in the TJ started as that legendary AX15, then moved to the NV3550, and by 2005, the 6-speed NSG 370. The NV3550 by New Venture Gear was rated for 300 pound-feet, decent on paper. But owners described 5th gear popping out, 2nd gear grinding, and it being a nightmare to find parts for. Plenty of guys ripped them out and swapped the old AX15 right back in. The TJ Automatic started as a tough old 3-speed, but in 2003, Jeep introduced the transmission I want you to burn into your memory as a warning. And that box is the 42RLE, the villain of this whole story. The 42RLE is a 4-speed automatic, built in-house by Chrysler. It lives in the TJ from 2003 to 2006, and the JK from 2007 to 2011. Here's the kicker. It shares DNA with a front-wheel drive car gearbox, and Jeep dropped it into a brick-shaped 4x4 with big tires. Drivetrain specialists describe it as known for poor shift quality, overheating, and dismal longevity. The common complaints? Valve body wear causing harsh or flared shifts, solenoid pack failures throwing erratic shifts and check engine codes, torque converter shudder at highway speed, and the whole thing overheating and dropping into limp mode on a hot day. A rebuild runs $1,500 to $2,500. A reman replacement hits $2,000 to $3,500. But here's the worst part. The 42RLE got hit with a federal recall in November 2005. NHTSA campaign 05V460000. It covered exactly 256,409 vehicles. Why? Because the cut plug that holds the park pawl anchor could be badly installed, meaning the vehicle might not actually stay in park and could roll away without warning. So the 42RLE overheats, shifts like a bag of hammers, and had a rollaway recall. This is the transmission to run from if you're shopping a used TJ or an early JK. Before we keep going, if you want to make your Jeep last as long as possible, check out my ebook, The 500,000-Mile Jeep Blueprint. It's the maintenance guide I wish every Wrangler owner had, covering the schedules, fluids, inspections, and hidden issues that can save you thousands in repairs. The link is in the description below. Then comes the JK, and it made the Wrangler world famous. Between 2007 and 2018, over 2.1 million JKs left dealerships, thanks mostly to the 4-door Unlimited. The The manual was that 6-speed NSG 370. And here's the wild part. It was built by Mercedes-Benz in Stuttgart, Germany, a leftover from the Daimler-Chrysler marriage. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? Reality is uglier. Transmission Digest, a trade magazine for gearbox rebuilders, says the synchronizer teeth are very fine and shallow, and that they see continual failures on the Jeep line. Why? Because the box was designed for a Mercedes on 26-inch tires, not a Jeep on 35s. Owners report grinding into 3rd, 4th, and 5th, plus the infamous reverse pop-out problem. There's an actual technical service bulletin, 21-006-05, just for the reverse gear issue. The Mopar repair kit alone runs over $900. One owner on the forums called it a meh transmission from a bread truck. That's the exact quote. Meanwhile, the JK V6 automatic through 2011 was still the dreadful 42RLE. Same rollaway recall, same shift problems, same overheating. However, in 2012, Jeep finally did something smart. Jeep swapped in the W5A580, also called the NAG1, and this one is the sleeper hit of the whole lineup. The W5A580 is 100% Mercedes-Benz. It's the 722.6, the same 5 G-tronic 5-speed Mercedes had been using since the 90s. It handles up to 428 pound-feet of torque. Owners describe it as very tough, very reliable. Sluggish and clunky, sure, but the thing rarely just dies on you. One owner put it perfectly. Seldom, if ever, has he heard of a NAG1 just going kaput by itself. So the 2012 to 2018 JK with the NAG1 Auto is genuinely a solid used buy. The knock? It's only a 5-speed. It's old-school clunky, and if you neglect the fluid and let one cook, a full rebuild can hit $4,500. And now we finally arrive at the champion, the JL. From 2018 to today, Jeep did the right thing. They kept the 6-speed manual as an ASIN unit, but they threw out the old 5-speed automatic and dropped in an 8-speed. Internally, Jeep calls it the 850RE. Its real identity is way bigger than that. It's the ZF8HP, the world-famous 8-speed built by ZF Friedrichshafen in Germany. FCA, now Stellantis, builds it in-house under license from ZF. The version behind the 3.6 V6 and the 2.0 turbo is the 8HP50, rated around 369 pound-feet. The heavy-duty 8HP75 sits behind the EcoDiesel, the 470-horse 392 V8, and the 4xe hybrid, rated over 550 pound-feet. Why does this matter so much? Because the ZF8HP is arguably the most respected automatic on Earth. This isn't Jeep Forum hopium. Car and Driver ran a whole feature titled, "Why ZF's 8-speed is the best automatic transmission." Their exact line was that it's hard to argue anything can do the job better than the ZF 8-speed. By 2017, ZF had already built over 3.5 million of these units, for BMW, Rolls-Royce, and Aston Martin. The same gearbox architecture that shifts a Bentley is shifting your Wrangler. And the JL owners agree loudly. Jump on the forums and it's a love fest. Guys who've owned 5-speed JKs for a decade call the 8-speed the smoothest shifting transmission they've ever driven. One gearhead who's owned SRT Chargers and an Alfa Romeo called it the best automatic of his life. Another said if you thought the JK's box was even okay, the ZF feels pulled straight out of a Ferrari. But I promised you the truth, so here's the flip side. Some JL owners have hit 850RE problems. Harsh shifts, shudder at low speed, occasional limp mode. There's even a horror story on the forums of a JL that needed a whole new transmission at just 1,500 miles. Technical service bulletins exist too. 21-007-22 covers shift quality complaints that get fixed with a simple software update. More serious internal clutch failures under codes like P0733 mean the whole box gets replaced. And here's a spicy one for the maintenance nerds. Jeep markets the fluid as lifetime fill. An owner sent his to Blackstone Labs at only 37,000 miles, and the viscosity had already sheared below spec. Lifetime fluid is a flat-out myth. Change it around 50,000 miles and you'll almost never see a serious failure. Out of the millions of ZF-based units on the road, the actual failures are rare, and the design is world-class. Now let me hand you 3 grenades for the comment section. Grenade number 1, the death wobble. Not a transmission issue, it's the front suspension. But it's the Wrangler controversy, so you need to know it. This is the violent, uncontrollable side-to-side shaking of the front end at highway speed when you hit a bump. FCA got sued over it. A class action, Reynolds versus FCA US, case number 219-CV-11745 in the Eastern District of Michigan. A federal judge gave final approval to the settlement in June 2023. The deal delivered roughly $30 million in benefits. An extended warranty of 8 years or 90,000 miles covering the steering damper. Reimbursement for owners who'd already paid out of pocket, and $4,000 to each of the 6 named plaintiffs. The plaintiffs alleged FCA knew about the defect before sale and did nothing but slap on a Band-Aid fix. So yes, the death wobble is real, it went to federal court, and Jeep settled. However, grenade number 2 is the manual everybody worships. If you're a purist screaming, "Buy the stick," slow down for a second. In 2023, NHTSA recall 23V-116, which was FCA's own number 19A, hit exactly 69,201 manual transmission Wranglers and Gladiators, model years 2018 to 2023. The problem, in NHTSA's own words, the clutch pressure plate may overheat and fracture, and overheated clutch components may increase the risk of a fire. The clutch is an ASIN unit with a Schaeffler-supplied assembly. This recall expanded and replaced an earlier 2021 recall, 21V-028, because the first fix straight up didn't work. So the buy a manual for reliability crowd is recommending the one Wrangler transmission that got recalled for potentially catching fire. Chew on that for a minute. Therefore, grenade number 3, the 4xe, is a full-blown legal mess. The plug-in hybrid uses the excellent ZF-based 8HP75 with an electric motor stuffed into it. Mechanically, it's fine. The problem is the battery pack. Stellantis issued recall after recall over fire risk, told owners in some cases not to charge their vehicles, and in late 2025 they pulled the 4xe from the market entirely. There's now a live class action lawsuit. Between the Samsung battery recall covering more than 320,000 vehicles and a separate engine-related fire recall, Stellantis has acknowledged dozens of fires and multiple injuries. Plaintiffs allege the company delayed a recall to save money. NHTSA also investigated over 94,000 4xe units for sudden loss of power. The 4xe was America's best-selling plug-in hybrid, and it's now a legal and safety nightmare. Get the plain gas 8-speed instead. So how does the Wrangler really stack up overall? Let's be honest with each other. RepairPal ranks the Wrangler 25th out of 26 compact SUVs for reliability, with an average annual repair cost around $694. That's higher than the segment average. J.D. Power gave the JK a peak score of 78 out of 100, and the JL an 86 out of 100. So the newer one really is measurably better. But Consumer Reports still calls the 2025 Wrangler less reliable than average. Compare that to a Toyota 4Runner, which posts reliability scores up around 90, and you understand why people cross-shop. The Wrangler isn't bought because it's reliable. It's bought because it's a Wrangler. And if you're going to buy one anyway, you buy the one with the best drivetrain possible. So here's the bottom line, friend. Do not buy a Wrangler with the 4.2 RLE 4-speed. That overheating, hammer-shifting, roll-away recall dud from 2003 to 2011 is the trap. Be cautious with the NSG 370 bread truck manual and steer clear of the weak AX5 4-cylinder stick. If you want a vintage rig, the AX15 manual and the tough old 3.2 RH 3-speed automatic are the honest old-timers. If you want a used bargain that punches way above its price, the 2012 to 2018 JK with the Mercedes NAG 1.5-speed automatic is a quiet winner nobody talks about. But if you want the best Jeep Wrangler transmission ever bolted to the platform, the one that's smooth, strong, and shares its bloodline with Bentleys and BMWs, you buy a 2018 or newer JL with the 850 RE 8-speed automatic behind the 3.6 Pentastar. Gas, not hybrid. Automatic, not the fire recall manual. That's the one. At the end of the day, buying the right Wrangler isn't about getting the newest one or the most expensive one. It's about getting the right transmission. Avoid the 4.2 RLE. Be careful with some of the manuals. And if your budget allows it, the 2018 or newer JL with the 850 RE 8-speed automatic is the clear winner. If this video saved you from an expensive mistake, hit that subscribe button because we've got plenty more Jeep guides coming. And let me know in the comments, which Wrangler are you driving, or which one are you thinking about buying? Thanks for watching. Click on the video on your screen and I'll see you there.